Hello, everyone, and a huge welcome to all you IGNO aspirants out there. You've probably seen this question pop up again and again in your studies. Why on earth must the government finance education? Well, in this explainer, we are going to completely break it down for you so you can ace that exam question. So, have you ever really stopped to think about it? Why can't we just, buy and sell education like we buy vegetables at the market? Why can't the free market just handle it all by itself? It's a fascinating puzzle. And the answer? Well, it's because education isn't just one simple thing. Okay, let's get into it. The first and maybe the most important step to cracking this question is to understand that education wears a bunch of different hats. It has like 5 different economic personalities all mixed into one. If you can explain these 5 characteristics in your exam, trust me, you've already won half the battle. And to make this super easy to remember when you're sitting in that exam hall, here is a fantastic mnemonic for you. Just remember the word price. That stands for positional, right, investment, consumption, and experience. Let's quickly break down what each of those actually means. Okay, first up, education is both a consumption and an investment good. Think about it. You enjoy learning, the campus life, the friendships. That's happening right now. That's the consumption part. But you're also doing it for a future benefit, right? A better job, a higher salary. That's the investment. It's kind of like planting a mango tree. You get some nice shade today, and you get the delicious fruit later on. Second, if we're being super technical, education can act like a private good. Why? Simple. It's excludable. If you don't pay the fees, the college can say, sorry, you can't come in. And it's also rivalrous. A seat taken by one student in a classroom can't be taken by someone else. There's a limited number of spots. But, and this is the big, crucial twist in the story, even though it can act like a private good, society says, no way, this is too important, we see it as a merit good. And the reason is this huge concept called positive externalities. These are the amazing benefits that spill over and help everybody. When we have an educated population, the whole nation becomes more productive, our democracy gets stronger, society is safer. Because of these massive social benefits, we believe everyone deserves a shot at it. It becomes a right. Fourth, education is an experience good. Now, what does that mean? Well, you can't really know how good a college degree is before you've done it, right? You only find out years later, after you've graduated and you're trying to get a job. This creates a problem economists call information asymmetry. The university knows a lot more about its quality than you, the student, can possibly know at the start. And finally, number 5, education is a positional good. Let's be honest, the value of a degree is often relative. A degree from an IIT or Ames isn't just about the amazing knowledge you get, it's also about the status, the rank, the prestige that comes with it. This is why you see such intense competition for a very small number of spots at the top. Okay, so now we have our 5 characteristics down. Remember, PRIC. Now we can finally connect them to the big question. Why does the free market, when left all on its own, completely fail when it comes to education? Just have a look at this. On the left, you've got all the great stuff you get personally, a higher salary, a better career. On the right, you've got the benefits that all of us in society get. Now, when an individual is deciding how much to spend on education, which column do you think they're focused on? Almost entirely the one on the left. And that, right there, is the core of the problem. This is classic market failure. Because the total social benefit is so much bigger than the private benefit, individuals will naturally invest less in education than what our society actually needs. Left to its own devices, the market will always underprovide education. And this leads to an even deeper, more serious problem. If education is only sold to people who can afford it, we end up excluding incredibly talented, meritorious individuals simply because they come from a poor background. This isn't just inefficient. The source material calls this an ethical failure. It's a tragic waste of human potential that locks in inequality for generations. Now, you might be thinking, well, hold on, why can't students just take out loans? That's a great question, and it brings us to another piece of key jargon, credit market imperfection. See, banks need collateral, something they can take if you fail to pay back the loan. But what can you offer? You can't use your brain as collateral. They can't exactly repossess your degree if you default. This makes lending for education super risky for them, especially to students who don't have wealthy families to back them up. And there's another weird paradox with education. In a car factory, you're always trying to cut costs to be more efficient. But in education, it's often the opposite. Higher costs to pay for better teachers, to have smaller classes, to get better lab equipment, usually lead to higher quality. So if you try to make education cheaper just by cutting costs, you actually damage the final product. So when you put all these pieces together, the market underinvesting, the ethical failure of excluding the poor, this broken loan market, and this weird cost-quality paradox, the conclusion is pretty clear. It's really inevitable. The government absolutely has to intervene. It's not really a choice. It must step in to correct for all those positive externalities we talked about. It has to act to prevent the ethical failure of leaving poor but brilliant students behind. It needs to fix that credit market imperfection, maybe with things like student loan guarantees, and it has to provide funding to make sure quality doesn't get thrown out the window.
All right, deep breath. We've gone through a lot, so let's boil it all down into one quick revision flashcard. If you're scribbling notes for your exam, this is the slide you really want to pay attention to.
Here they are, your final revision points. The number one problem: the market underprovides education because of positive externalities. Your key jargon to impress the examiner: human capital cannot be used as collateral, which leads to credit market imperfection. The big social justice issue: relying on the ability to pay causes ethical failure. Your framework for the whole answer: the 5 personalities, PRICE. And the core justification for government action: it's all about correcting for market failure and ensuring equity. So there you have it, a really solid framework for explaining exactly why the government must fund education. But of course, that just leads to the next massive question, doesn't it? Now that we know why they have to do it, how should they do it in the most effective way possible to get the best results for everyone? Something to think about. For now, good luck with your exams.